What's up, guys? Gun here. I hope this video finds you well. You guys know the drill. We're looking at DraftKings wide receivers in this video for Week 1 2020. And just like every other video we put out in this weekly playlist series, I want to know who you guys are on. If you guys want a chance to win $20 PayPal this Monday, let me know in the comments below who you're on at the wide receiver spot, why you're on them, and then of course make sure you're a subscriber and you hit that thumbs up on this video. I would surely appreciate it. It helps me get back in that algorithm mix. Today's video, I'm going to talk about a couple of guys I like at the wide receiver spot. Normally in these core pick videos or my favorite play videos, I try to avoid the obvious. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really get away from the obvious quarterback plays like Lamar Jackson, something like that. I didn't count Christian McCaffrey yet. I mean, in that running back video, but it's still hard to get a little different. But man, oh man, is wide receiver loaded in that 6K area. So I'm definitely going to take full advantage in this video to not stand here and tell you to play Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, Davante Adams, right? You know these guys are good. You know they're going to be 10, 15, 18 target guys. And you didn't need me to tell you that, right? I believe you are smarter than the average YouTube user. So, with that said, there's plenty of money this week. Soft pricing. You can fit in Michael Thomas with your Drew Brees handcuff. You can go get Julio Jones at 7.7K. Davante Adams, 7.3K. Right now, a road dog. We know he's going to get 10, 15 targets, if not more. Chris Godwin, slot receiver for Tom Brady. We know what Tom Brady does with guys like Julian Edelman over the years, and Mike Evans is dealing with an injury, so perhaps more looks to Chris Godwin's way. DeAndre Hopkins in that extremely fast offense, high plays there. Adam Thielen without Stephon Diggs. So many of these guys in the top 10 make a whole lot of sense. You guys know that. But I'm going to focus on a couple of other plays that are in maybe tougher perceived matchups, but are all legitimate wide receiver ones that should lead their team in targets and should make fine tournament plays and at least give me strong floors. That's 5 to 6K receivers. I'm usually looking for 15 fantasy points in cash formats and then hoping for 20 plus, and everybody we're hoping for 30 in tournaments. So let's get cranked up here. I'm gonna talk about guy number one, Terry McLaurin. So I actually mentioned Dwayne Haskins in the quarterback video. The Redskins aren't projected to put up a lot of points. It's a perceived tough matchup. The Redskins did go out there and pick up Darius Slay. He'll probably see some Terry McLaurin. They got Nickel Roby. But Scary Terry might still be chalk. He might end up trendy, I'll say, by Sunday. But he's still a wide receiver one of the more modest team totals in a stacked 5 to 6K player pool on DraftKings. So I'm going to keep my ear to the ground to see if McLaurin is real people chalk or DFS bubble chalk. He emerged as Haskins' favorite toy through the air, and I like Ron Rivera to play aggressively instead of Jay Gruden's, quote, play not to lose mantra. The Eagles have been notorious for a stout pass rush, edge rush, but you can take the top off of their defense. They did add Darius Slay, like I said. That sounds good on paper, but last year, metrically, Darius Slay wasn't as dominant as a lot of people might perceive. So I am a little bit curious to see if Darius Slay progresses back to what he once was, or is he going to continue a decline? Because we know cornerbacks tend to hit a decline at some point, right? And we've definitely seen the Eagles pick up some guys that they think are plus corners, and then they just end up continuing the trend there. What I do like about Terry McLaurin, Redskins are projected to play from behind. That's going to be a plus game script for the passing game. We know McLaurin's a guy that's probably going to lead his team in targets. I don't think the Redskins are going to be as stubborn at running the ball 30 times a game with Adrian Peterson and company under Ron Rivera. So I think Terry McLaurin could be a guy that wouldn't be crazy to get 10 to 15 targets if his team needed him. And he just is an explosive, actually very talented player. So at 5.6K, I'll chip in a chair a talent level like that almost every week if I know I'm going to get potentially double-digit targets in a positive game script. So 5.6K for McLaurin. Give me 15 fantasy points on the low end, and I would absolutely be ecstatic if he did what he did last year against the Eagles. 27 DKP in week 15, and in week 1, 26 DKP. So plus history there, but you're going to see a lot of receivers with plus history against the Eagles. So I'm digging McLaurin. I just think he's too cheap. I think there's so many receivers that are just too cheap that are legitimate wide receiver ones. Next one I want to talk about is T.Y. Hilton, 5.8K. The Jaguars are in shambles, man. They're not having a great offseason. They're not having a great couple last seasons. You know, the Jalen Ramsey debacles, the Leonard Fournette stuff. It's a tough time in that locker room. As an organization, I assume that type of stuff bleeds into the locker room, but I'm not going to play that game here. But the Colts look super strong pre-flop, right? Phillip Rivers is going to take over at the quarterback position for the Colts, and I love his assortment of weapons. Guys like Marlon Mack, Jack Doyle, and T.Y. Hilton. Hilton seems far too underpriced for someone who should live at double-digit targets with Rivers under center, and Hilton legitimately could challenge 100 yards, 10 catches, and hopefully a look or two in the end zone. You know that Phillip Rivers likes to key in on specific receivers, right? When he builds a chemistry with guys like Keenan Allen or Antonio Gates, like he'll feed them. I think he's going to feed Hilton. It's looking like they're getting a chemistry developed in camp, in practice. If you read this update from August 30th, it says Hilton caught 6 passes, including 1 deep ball in Saturday scrimmage. Appears to be in sync with Rivers. They said they've been able to get on the same page. I think that's great. I think Hilton's a guy that we maybe sometimes forget has insane ceiling upside week to week when he's healthy. And if you give him a quarterback that, you know, maybe doesn't have the arm he used to have, but still has the prowess and the IQ of a guy like Phillip Rivers with the talent, I like T.Y. Hilton here. The only thing I'm like skittish on for T.Y. Hilton is I do think the Colts put away the Jaguars pretty easily, so the game script's not going to be pass heavy too long, right? It might be one of those spots where we need Hilton to pop off in the first half, and the second half is going to be like Marlon Mack territory, stuff like that. But a 5.8K, I do think 10-ish targets is a range of outcome, and I'm going to be a buyer in T.Y. Hilton. I don't know if I'm going to have like Phillip Rivers lineups this weekend, but definitely going to have quite a bit of T.Y. Hilton. Just any of these wide receiver ones, like legitimate wide receiver one talented players at 6K or less, I just got to have them. Like, I think the opportunity cost is too low. Coming up next, I'm going to talk about Keenan Allen, former Rivers quarterback, right? 6.4K for Keenan. He got paid. He got his contract. And what that means is in a time of transition for the Chargers offensively, you know, moving from Phillip Rivers, getting Justin Herbert, and, you know, maybe filling in a guy like Tyrod Taylor in the meantime, they still want to build around Keenan Allen, and they paid him money. And I don't think they're going to pay him that money. I think he's the second highest paid receiver in the league. They're not going to pay him that money to not use him, right? I think as a slot receiver, Keenan Allen should still be a guy that sees a lot of looks, a lot of targets. I think there's a lot of skittish thoughts on Tyrod Taylor. A lot of people remember Tyrod from like his stint with the Buffalo Bills. His wide receiver one was Sammy Watkins. Watkins did have some strong fantasy weeks, but he still was Sammy Watkins. And now with a larger sample size, Watkins was never like super consistent, just a high upside guy. Keenan Allen can be that high target slot slant route receiver for a game manager like Tyrod Taylor. And if he can get into that end zone with, you know, 80 to 100 yards, 8 catches at 6.4K, I think that's enough for me to be a buyer. It's going against a Bengals defense that was not great last year. I do think the Chargers, much like the Colts situation, I think the Chargers should control this game. I'm going to talk about the Chargers defense in another video. But I still think at 6.4K, the opportunity cost is just a little bit too low to get Keenan Allen on the right start with his quarterback. And while the Chargers might end the season with a different quarterback, like, I don't think Tyrod is as bad of a thing as a lot of people are saying for now. Sure, he might be a game manager, but I think that's a bad thing for slot receivers. So give me some Keenan Allen. And like I said, this 6K area is loaded. I'm going to talk about one more receiver, but I do think guys like DJ Moore make a lot of sense. Stephon Diggs, you can take a shot at him against the Jets. Josh Allen loves to air it out. I do think the Buffalo, more so than any other team, should control that game from start to finish. Kenny Golladay is a chip in a chair at 6,200. Calvin Ridley, I don't think he fits into those. I talked at the top of the video where I was like, oh, you don't need me to tell you Julio, Michael Thomas, blah, blah, blah. Everyone and their mom's been talking about Calvin Ridley as well, so I didn't want to be a cop-out and tell you about him. Obviously, I like Calvin Ridley. I like any receiver that's going to play opposite Julio when Julio gets all the attention. Ridley was just fantasy points central, right? 17 plus fantasy points the last 4 weeks of last season before they ended his season. At 6.1K, if you can give me 18, 20 plus fantasy points, I think he can. I like him quite a bit. I like the fact that they, I say this, I like the fact for him that ever since they, Mohamed Sanu left and now they don't have Austin Hooper, there's still more pass target equity for Ridley. And I do think the Seahawks could answer strongly against the Falcons in week 1. And I think that game was a potential shootout. So 6.1K, I think you can see a lot of Ridley, Matt Ryan stacks. So I'm not going to officially sit here and tout Ridley, but he's certainly a 6.K guy that I think probably becomes the highest owned receiver in that price point, right? So I'm just trying to be a little different in guys I discuss. But anyway, the last name I want to talk about in this video is Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham. Rough week for him on Twitter, but 5.9K. He's a legitimate wide receiver 1. I'm betting on talent here. I'm looking for double-digit fantasy points at 5.9K. The Ravens matchup is obviously not my first choice in selecting a receiver, but Odell Beckham played injured all last year with that sports hernia, and Baker Mayfield played abysmal. I'm hoping for progression for Baker Mayfield and a healthy Odell who has made star-like catches in training camp. I'm willing to roll the dice at this price point, and being the largest underdog on the slate, the Browns that is, it spells well for Odell game script-wise. A lot more pass attempts and targets going his way. A lot of people argue that Jarvis Landry is the wide receiver 1, and now Odell is a number 2 receiver. But really, those people just love low-hanging fruit and are trying to get likes on YouTube videos. Anyway, I thought, okay, that's stupid. That's stupid. Why would I say that? Anyway, those are the receivers I'm looking at early on in the 5-6K area. If you guys have some gems, diamonds in the rough, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, just because I didn't talk about them doesn't mean I don't like them. I just didn't want to talk about the obvious guys. I will have hopefully a more updated look in my final thoughts video later this week. So if you guys look out for that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be glad to wrap that up. And if you guys had any other specific questions, and I try to respond as much as I can here on YouTube, but in that membership Discord, Gundecker Gaming, or in the RunDFS.com Discord, I'll be glad to help you guys out there. Read the description below. There's some cool stuff in there, including the $20 PayPal giveaway details and the 100-man $1 entry Gundecker Gaming Week 1 contest. So if you guys want some pretty cool bragging rights, check that out. And then this Sunday at Lock, we're going to live sweat the slate. You ain't got to go to B-Dubs or Hooters. You can hang out right here in the YouTube chat. I'll have the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat open. We'll be chatting live with you guys. I'll be interacting with chat. Should be a fun time. Stay tuned for that tight end video. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.